Today's video, we're going to talk about landing page strategy. The 17 things that you can add to your landing page that I've found that will add conversion or conversion rate to your landing pages every single time. If you want to make more money from the ad traffic that you're driving to your landing pages right now, all you have to do is just knock down the 17 things on this list. Now, of course, every single one of these things may not be possible or doable, but I guarantee you at least several of these are easy for you to execute, and of which will incrementally each increase the conversion rates of your traffic you're driving to your landing page, whether that be coming from Google, Facebook, wherever you're running your ads. Of which I'm also going to give direct examples of different companies and different niches where we used each one of these 17 things, so you have real practical knowledge as to how this stuff actually works in a real world application. I'm not just talking about theory here. These are all things that I've done, and I'm going to speak about the experiences where I've applied these individual strategies before. To get into the list here, starting with number 1, better headline. Now, I know this sounds like really like whatever, but people don't focus on the landing page headline nearly enough. And the biggest mistake I see people do is they get too cute or fancy with it. They sell a water filter, they'll say, see the best health that you can ever have. And when somebody gets to your landing page and they see that, and instead of saying the #1 water filter in the USA or something more straightforward and direct, not to say that that's exactly what I would do in that case, you end up having a much lower conversion rate. We're talking about less than half of what it should be, because the user, #1 thing you have to do with your headline is make sure people know they're at the right place, and whatever they saw in the ad is what they're going to get on this landing page. Otherwise, they're just going to get confused and leave half the time. And then with that, the easiest way to make more money from your ads and get an average of 40% higher conversion rates is to make a page for each keyword you're targeting if you're talking about search campaigns, so that the keyword can be in the headline. So if they're looking for the best water filter, the headline can say best water filter, not water filter. Then you also put the location in there for an extra 50+% conversion rate. If they are in Texas, even though you market nationwide, just simply putting Texas in the headline, you can actually put best water filter in Texas. When they're from Texas or in Texas, that in itself will typically increase the conversion rates 50+% in it itself. So that's just a little small hack that anybody can do. Clarity. I talked about this already. Don't get too cute or fancy with your headline. State your purpose. Of course, with that, you want to, ideally, while you're informing the user why they're on the page and what this page is about, also you want to actually have pain points worked into there. What is it that people really are looking for in your space, and put that into the headline. So if they're looking for a warranty, best water filter with 2-year warranty. Or if people are looking for fast shipping, best water filter with 2-day shipping. You got to figure out though what that #1 thing is that they're really going for by reading your competitors' reviews, the things that they want, the things that pisses them off, and then make your headline after you've really done your deep research on the topic of what people want in your space for that exact item. And you got to do it for every item that you sell, obviously, or service that you sell, obviously, because it's going to vary based upon whether they want, let's say, air conditioning installation services versus air conditioning repair services. Yes, this takes a lot of time, but it's worth it to do. You can easily double your conversion rate just getting your headline right. In most of your guys' cases, I see it all the time with our clients at our firm. Number 2, average review score. The #1 thing you'll see on my landing page portfolio on our website at guaranteedppc.com is I'll actually lay out our average review rating or score at all the places we've got a rating. So Yelp, Google, industry review sites, stuff like that. Because they all have their own, like, out of 5 stars, what your average rating is with all the testimony or all the reviews that you've got. Or Amazon, if you want to put Amazon in there as well as another example. But the best way to get the highest conversion rate I've found is to lay out every one of your scores in every place. And of course, you have at least a 4 out of 5 star score, and link to the actual place where you got the review scores. If you put on their Yelp, you got a 4.9 on Yelp. Have it so when somebody hovers over it, they know they can click on it and verify on Yelp you've got that score. That in itself will give you a good 50% increase for local services at the very least. And for national services, maybe half of that. Number 3, industry review score or industry review source. So if you are a moving company, for instance, there's review companies that just review moving companies. Pay what you need to pay to get that review. Pay for A+ BBB ratings. This doesn't have the impact of what it used to, but it still matters in today's environment and will typically increase your conversion rate. With that, you pay for these third-party sources to review your company. You put it on your landing page, it'll increase your conversion rate. Maybe not double, but you'll easily get 5, 10, 15% for each one of these things you typically add to the page, just because it looks fancy, and it just, from the user's perspective that isn't an expert in your product or service, it just gives them peace of mind seeing that. And again, like the review scores, link to the actual source of the information. Number 4, mainstream TV features. We've paid television stations before to review a product on a mainstream national television show like Fox and Friends. And then with that, you actually pay to get on the show. Of course, that'll drive sales in and itself, but the main value is getting the clip that you can then put on your landing page / website, which increases user trust immensely to the point where you should be able to easily get a double-digit increase in your conversion rate just by doing that simple thing. So it may cost you 10 grand USD to get on Fox and Friends, but once you have it and it increases your conversion rate even 10%, you're going to make that money back no problem at all. So it makes no sense not to do it. Maybe not right away if you're a small micro startup, but when you're doing at least $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, this is an absolute no-brainer, and for sure on several million. But also, if you are in a niche like you're selling auto parts, well, you need to get on a niche TV show because it'll work even better. We sold, like for instance, toolboxes. We got on a Gearhead, like a Motor Trend TV type TV show. Ended up getting a much higher conversion rate, mentioning that on our product page so that we were using as a landing page, point where 25% more people were simply buying just because that feature was on the web page, which indicates credibility right off the bat. And we've done similar things with kitchen products, being on the Food Network. How do you pay just to get on TV? Trust me, these old legacy TV networks, they need money. They're hard up for cash. If you reach out to them saying you want to advertise and say, hey, I don't, what's on your media kit here? I want on your show in the new products feature that you have coming up. What's the price on that? They'll give you and hook you up with the price. It's really not hard to do anymore. Maybe back in the day it was, not now. Niche influencer reviews, kind of basically tied to the same thing, but a little less powerful, is just getting influencers to review your products. In some niches, if your product's expensive, you can ship them the product and they'll review it and they won't need any money. That said, even then, even if your product costs 2-3 grand and you ship it to an influencer, they're only going to review it for free unless they have, let's say, less than 20,000 subscribers. If you want a 1 million subscriber guy on YouTube to review your product, you're going to have to pay, in terms of free product plus, probably 5 to 10 grand in terms of just a commission. Sometimes more, depending on if it's a couple million, 3 million. You know, for a 1 million subscriber channel, 10 grand should be able to get you a product feature plus the free product just to get a simple, quick video review of the product. And then you'll use that video on your landing page itself. We've done this with, we had a product that was meant to help horses with their injuries and so forth. We had the product reviewed by horse influencers. Increased the conversion rate immensely because people didn't inherently trust this brand. It wasn't a big brand, which is one of the growth hacks, if there ever was one. That is, when you're a new brand and there's other more established brands out there and you get a review from a niche influencer, you're going to be able to catch up like right away because in terms of the trust that you need to make a good conversion rate, because people trust what an influencer has to say over what the brand has to say itself that's not been reviewed by the influencer. People, they really put stock in what influencers say nowadays. And yes, it might cost you 10 grand to get the influencer review, but you're going to have at least 10% higher conversion rates with that on your landing page. It matters that much. And in the case with the horse influencer, it was at least 20%. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but at least 20% increase in conversion rate there. Beyond that, video testimonials. Regular written testimonials are not bad, particularly if you can summarize the testimonial with a headline. So if somebody says how much they liked it for running, you say, John loves it for running. And then you have the testimonial underneath it. You have all the stars. You have the headshot. Ideally, if you can do it, you can link to John's Facebook profile. That's all pretty good. Even better, though, still is a video testimonial where they actually mention on video, on their iPhone or whatever, what they thought about the product or service. And not only just one, but you need several to really get a big lift in your conversion rate. But you have a section on your landing page that just has video testimonials on it, and you'll get another at least 10% higher conversion rate in that situation. More or less, depending on what niche you're in. If you're in a higher or lower trust niche where you're selling a water filter, people don't really trust what you're selling, or you're selling beauty products, something like that, anti-aging beauty product, you're going to get a higher lift having video testimonials than you would for moving service that inherently people pretty much trust right away. Instead of getting a 10% increase in conversion rate from having 4 video testimonials on your page, you'll get 30%, depending, being in a lower trust niche from what I've found. Also, competitor comparisons. Almost nobody does this. This is my favorite tactic, actually. Even more so than being on mainstream TV and paying for that. You literally just buy all your competitors' products and you show them, okay, here's what this does, here's what this does, and then you compare them side by side. This is so easy to do, and this is what the consumers in your market really want more than anything else, is to see, okay, I was considering these 5 products, which ones are the best? You just broke it down for them. Ideally, obviously, this only works if you actually are better than the competition, which if you're not, why the hell aren't you? But when you do this, this will at least increase your conversion rates by 25%. At the absolute minimum, we did this even with paint itself. We showed competing products, paint products, and the difference in the durability and the visual appeal of the paint itself, side by side with all the main competitors, and we got that kind of a lift in and itself. We've done this with power tools. You can do it basically with anything, and not just product, but also can be done with services. If you got a tax service, hire your 4 other competition tax services locally, and then show what the end result was. This got this return, this got this return, this one had this many mistakes. Why not do this? People don't want to do it though, because they don't want to talk trash about their competitors. But at the end of the day, if you don't do this, they're going to buy from the competitor and get a shitty experience. Yes, you may think you're all high and mighty by not talking shit about your competitor, but your customer is going to get ripped off. Do you feel better about that situation? I wouldn't. Number 8, made in the USA. Simply, anything that's made in the USA nowadays will easily get a 20% lift in conversion rate in and itself. Everybody wants this. I personally, if I'm going to invest in a company, an e-commerce company, if it's not made in the USA, I don't want to invest in it. Because this is where everything's going. They're tired of buying cheap Chinese crap. They want to buy USA made. People know that is the quality product out there. And just by saying that it's quality, basically, you're rubber stamping and saying it has quality. And so what you do is you put a little flag and made it in the USA several times on your landing page, on the product thumbnail itself, also down in the middle of the description, also ideally in the top part of your website, so it's across your whole website too, ideally. And you'll get a big increase in conversion rate from that. Warranties. That is, if you are in a space where it makes sense, have a warranty. We've had in the same paint company that I mentioned before, just mentioning that we have a 25-year warranty on this paint product was able to not only increase our conversion rate on our landing pages, but mentioning that on the ad, increase our click-through rates a ton, to the point where we basically, that made the whole company, that one feature. Why? Because everybody wants the highest durability one that they can find, and nobody else offers a warranty, and we have this huge warranty on it. So our conversion rate basically doubled just from that one aspect of what's going on in and itself. Guarantees. Once in a while, which guarantees, warranties are kind of synonymous, but ultimately, we've sold, for instance, aviator sunglasses, and we guaranteed that they would have the best performance from these sunglasses than you're going to find on any other sunglass on the market. And if you don't get it, well, 200% your money back. Not just money back, which people expect that by default, so that's nothing. That's not going to increase your conversion rates at all. But double your money back, which a lot of people don't have the guts to do that, but you could set up your 200% money back guarantee in such a way that they have to prove that your product is inferior, which when you know it isn't, you're basically just increasing your conversion rate with no downside. Or at the very least, very few people are going to remember that claim after they got the product and they've used it. And may only have to give 5% or less of people double their money back at the end of the day. But for the most part, when you have the best product, you just say, hey, if it doesn't do X, Y, Z result for you, will double your money back. And that's a huge growth hack in and itself, and will increase your conversion rates a lot of times by a good 50 to 100% just by doing that exact hack that I just mentioned. Longer return times. This is a smaller factor, but it does increase conversion rates somewhat in most occasions, particularly on items that are bigger purchases. So like we've sold mailboxes before, we have a 100-day money-back guarantee. So when people know that they get it and it takes them a while to install it, they have plenty of time to return it if they want. This is big in the mattress space. We've used it there. So just simply take your 30-day return policy, make it 90, make it known it's 90 on the landing page, and that increases user trust. Ultimately, they might not need that for a broom, but in some of you guys' occasions, you can get a good 10+% increase in conversion rate just by doing that simple thing. Price digit modification. I've mentioned on other videos before how simply changing the price, so if your price is ending in a 0 now, ending it in a 9-digit or a 7-digit, will typically increase your conversion rates. Reducing cents and just getting rid of the cents and just have dollars on there will typically increase the conversion rate as well, by the way. 7 being the number that you end with that typically increases conversion rates the most. It's tied to the psychological principle of 7 in marketing. You can look this up, but that's just a simple hack. Or if you're using 9 now, try 7. Or if you're using 7 now, try 9, because once in a while it goes the other way. But that in itself will usually increase conversion rates at least 10% in and itself, which is an easy hack anybody can do. Color scheme changes. I know you may not want to or feel you need to change the color scheme on your landing pages, but this, I guarantee you'll get an increased conversion rate finding the ideal shades of colors to use on your landing page. If you're using green and blue now, consider using green and white. If that doesn't increase your conversion rate, use red and white. Test the color scheme itself until you find the color scheme that works. Why? Because color is tied to mood. And when people are in a different mindset or mood when they're on your landing page, they're more open to the suggestion and more open to being open-minded about the situation. The number one color that converts out of all our landing pages that we have historically is blue, because blue instills trust and it instills also authority at the same time. At least when you're talking about a combination of dark blue, which instills authority, and light blue, which instills trust, specifically the shade of robin's egg blue. But in different situations, if you have a new product that's kind of like mysterious, black can do very, very well to increase conversion rates itself. Or if you want people to think about money, you of course use green. If you want people to really get them motivated, you use red. If you want to be in a better mood, you can use yellows, things like this. And you can look up colors tied to mood and mindset. Bottom line, you just try the different color combinations. I guarantee you one of them is going to increase your conversion rate. There's no way what you have now that you've just picked by default randomly is going to get you the highest conversion rate. And for that matter, layout is tied to the same thing. There's no way the layout you have now is going to get you the highest conversion rate. Now, I will absolutely say the layout matters less for services like a broken toilet repair service, because the user needs way less information. You should still change the layout nevertheless. So instead of having the headline on the left side and the hero image on the right, potentially flip it. Or instead of having a button for a form, have the form itself showing there. There's some different things you can do there, but you should try those. And you like the colors, there's no way that what you did by default is the absolute best way to do it. So it's just a matter of setting up some different layouts to lay out the same information. And really where the magic comes in on landing pages is how you lay out the information. So you got to know what to say yes and not bog the user down with unnecessary information, which is an art in itself. You have to figure out what people want to hear and what they don't want to hear, and what they mainly don't want to hear. No, don't mention it, but what they do want to hear, lay it out in such a way that they can easily get to what they want. And the people who don't want certain information can easily get past what they don't want. But the people that do want more information, they can easily find it at the same time. This is all done primarily through layout and something tied in called eye flow on the page. So what do they look at first? What do they look at second? So you change the arrangement of content on the page, and that in itself generally will increase your conversion rate once you find the ideal layout. Multi-step forms. I've talked about in other videos before how basically one of the easiest way nowadays to increase your conversion rate, instead of having a contact form like you normally would have with 5 fields on their name, last name, address, stuff like this, you ask them a lowball question on your form. You say, so if you're gonna do drywall repair services, you say, how big a hole is the hole in your wall? Is it big, small, or medium? And it's something that anybody can answer without having to think too hard. once they answer that question, they're more likely to answer a second question because they've already invested part of their time in answering the first question. It's called the sunk cost fallacy, actually. You can look this up. People are more willing to take the next step forward if they've already invested some into the process already, and this is what this taps into. Even though if you were to take the same fields that you would normally want the user to fill out on a form, and you just break it down into 5 steps and they don't see all fields until they get all the way through the process, because you're only answering or asking one question at a time, it's still going to increase your conversion rates, but it'll increase it more if you go with the first formula that I gave you, which you throw out a lowball question there that you don't need just to get them to start the process essentially. And that in and itself will typically increase our conversion rate a good 30+%, switching from the traditional form to the multi-step form with that formula. More response mechanisms. I've talked about this. I beat this to death, actually. Most people want to do is they say, oh, I want more calls, Corey, or I want more form fills, Corey. And they just try to do what they want the customer to do. The reality is you're not going to make the maximum amount of conversion rate you can unless you have as many response mechanisms as possible, because everybody has different preferred means of communication with you. Some people are going to want to call. Some people are going to want to fill out the form. It's just how it is. Some people are going to want to text message you. Some people are going to want to live chat message you. If you offer them all, you're going to have a higher conversion rate than if you just asked for them to call or fill out the form or whatever. And each one incrementally is going to increase your conversion rate. Yes, it's more to manage, but if you use something like CallRail, you can manage text messages and form fills and phone calls all within the same thing and get one alert on your phone, whether they respond one way or the other. And you can get a live chat mechanism on your phone as well that'll alert you when somebody chats. And so what's the difference anyway? You know, I go over these points in detail in this video, on other videos, and I highly encourage you subscribe to this channel because I have the best information on how to make money with ads that you're going to find on YouTube as well as online. So if you haven't subscribed yet, you should. You're not going to find a way to make money better and easier than following the steps I have on this channel, because I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm on dozens of clients' accounts to find out what actually works and what doesn't work at our firm. And I share it with you for free on this channel. In addition to that, I've got great information on my blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where I document my strategies that we're using to guarantee results for clients at our firm as well. Beyond that, if you have any questions about anything I'm covering here or any marketing related question at all, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours. You can also reach out to me through my Discord group. The link is in the video description as well. You can reach out to me through my site at guaranteedppc.com, of which I do, just to let you know, full-on PPC management services. So we do Google ads, Facebook ads, all online ads. We work on your stuff. We do not charge a management fee unless we get you a certain minimum lift in your profitability up front. We also do coaching and consulting. I can get on a call with you and talk through any problem that you would have on anything really. And then beyond that, I also sell ad templates. If you have already worked in your market before in another city or country that you're in, I can literally sell you the winning ads, landing pages, all of it that work for your niche market, whether it's e-commerce or non-e-commerce, doesn't matter. And I can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front. We've worked in hundreds of niches, so the chances are quite high we've already got the results you're looking for, and you can use it to cut out all the time it takes to normally get to the results in your market that you would normally need to go through the process that we did to get to those results, to local numbers. Another little hack with these 17 things that you can do to increase your conversion rates every time. You could put a local telephone number on your website, and that'll increase conversion rates substantially, between 7 and 15% typically in itself. And that applies to not just local businesses, but also national companies. So you could be a product development company, people looking for product development services. If they get to your landing page and then the phone number is not an 800 number, but a local phone number, it's going to make them more likely to call because they trust people that are local to them. Just another little hack that you can do, and it certainly helps even more for the actual local businesses seeing a local number there, because if you have an 800 number there, they're going to wonder, do they really cover my area? Even if you put the name of that user's location that they're in the headline, it still won't give you the full conversion rate until you have a local number to match it itself in addition as well. Not only that, for e-commerce businesses, it'll also increase your conversion rate as what we found. Because we did this for a printing services company itself. They actually had an e-commerce setup. You can buy business cards and stuff like this. The fact that the phone number when we did this only for the bigger cities because it only makes sense to kind of do it there, but the local number being a local NYC number for people that are in New York City, they were more likely to respond and convert having the local number there versus the national number there for a nationwide campaign that we were running. In addition to that, we also had the same exact thing for a yard sign company, you know, like the political yard signs that you see. We did the same thing there, improved it there as well. What we would do is create different phone number pools for the bigger cities, the top 10 highest population metros across the US. And at least in those cities, if they're in those cities when searching for our keywords, they're going to see a local number there, and that's going to increase our conversion rate by 10 to 20% in and itself. So that's another little hack that you can do as well. Anyway, with that said, I pretty much have went through the list here as much as I can. If you have any questions, definitely let me know in the comment section, but I'll wrap it up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.